Hey everybody, this is Dave Little coming to you live with the unpackaging of my newest shipment of wrestling cards from the Filsinger Games company, my favorite gaming company out in, they're now listed in Fairfield, Connecticut. Long story. Hey, ID Jester, welcome. I'm going to give folks a few minutes. We had some folks over in Rob's channel, and we'll give folks time to filter over. I'm trying something new camera-wise. As you can see, I have my webcam pointed down at my desktop where the big white envelope is ready to be revealed. So, this is a set, it's actually several sets of new wrestling cards released by the Filsinger Games Legends of Wrestling series. And they release several different sets per year. They have the Legends of Wrestling, which are the old style guys, 70s, 80s, 90s. They have Independent Wrestling, which is contemporary guys. They also have a sister product called Champions of the Galaxy. If you are a comic book fan, Champions of the Galaxy is really a wrestling game and a comic book rolled into one, and they come out with a new set every summer. I can't keep up with all the new sets, but at the end of each year I look back at what's been published and I order one big package of cards a year, and now the time has come to reveal some new wrestling cards for my Filsinger Federation. Got to give a shout out to Todd Jorshell, my buddy at Filsinger Games. I ordered these cards a week or 10 days ago, and they did not show up because I got a Facebook message from Todd saying that the mailing was returned to him because it was damaged in the mail. So Todd immediately went to town and sent these priority mail at his own expense. So thank you, Todd, for that. Now let's take a look and see what we've got. We got the Game Brochure here, which is the Cards and Dice Game Expansion 2 of the Legends of Wrestling. This game actually came out 30 years ago, and all the cards were black and white. And in recent years, they have started to reissue some of the old cards in color and add some new cards to that. So you can see here what's coming. Barry Windham is going to be the headliner. Magnum TA, who has had a card in the past. Tully Blanchard is new. J.J. Dillon will have a manager card. Ivan Koloff is also an old black and white card that has been republished in color. So that's one set that we'll be revealing. Expansion Pack 3, featuring the one and only Stan the Man, Stan the Lariat Hanson. The Vachons, the Flying Redheads, Nick Bockwinkel and Bobby Heenan. And let's take a look and see what all good stuff we've got here. We'll get to that set after a bit. And let us start with expansion pack number 2. Let's see who we got here. Coming up first, here he is, Barry Windham. Let me move the book aside. Barry Windham, famous member of the Four Horsemen, famous son of Blackjack Mulligan, who was actually mentioned earlier in the day in somebody's chat. And still around, old timer. Pops up in celebrity appearances every now and then. Let me see how I'm doing here with the camera. I've got the camera sort of rigged up to show my desktop, and not sure if we're getting a good shot here. And this is something I have to work on is how to show stuff on my. Dave, show the whole card, but yeah, I'm trying, Ken. I'm trying to get the camera and the card to match up. So here is the Barry Windham card. How's that? This is what the front of the card looks like. Now the card back has the gaming stuff on it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see the gaming details in great detail. It looks like we are close to being able to see the full card. You have an offensive column on the left, a defensive column on the right, and at the bottom of the card you have ratings for the various events that happen: ropes, turnbuckle, out of the ring, death jump, disqualification ratings. And you also have the attributes of agility and power. So Barry Windham actually has a very strong card. He's got double finishers, the Sweetwater suplex on a roll of 5, and a lariat +2 finisher on a roll of 6. And those numbers, the 0 and the +2, are modifiers that improve your chance of scoring a pinfall after you execute your finishing move. So Barry Windham has a very strong card with a double finisher. Next up we see Magnum TA. Very popular wrestler back in the early 80s whose career was cut short by an automobile accident. But former United States heavyweight champion, had a legendary summer series of matches against Nikita Koloff back in the day. Magnum was known for his belly-to-belly suplex, and that is going to be his finishing hold. He doesn't have the double finisher like Barry Windham has, but his finishing hold is a +3, and that means that's a devastating hold. Tully Blanchard, one of the great heels from the Four Horsemen days. And just a complete punk. Tully Blanchard has a slingshot suplex on +2. He does not have a double finisher, but on level 3 offense, he also has the ability to use a foreign object, and that is an add 1 move, meaning it adds a point of fatigue, but doesn't necessarily lead right to a slingshot. Or it doesn't necessarily lead directly to a pinfall. And here's Papa Blackjack. Blackjack Mulligan, the father of Barry Windham. Looking good. Nasty SOB, great heel. And Blackjack's got the famous Blackjack Claw, a +2 finisher. He's got -3 power, which is excellent. With the power and agility, the lower numbers are better because that modifies your ability to complete a move. So -5 is about the best attribute you can get in agility or power. Blackjack is a -3 power, which is very, very solid. Next we have Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear. The storyline uncle of Nikita Koloff, legendary wrestler both in the WWE and in the NWA later in his career, former WWF heavyweight champion, known for the Russian sickle, +2 finishing hold. The Masked Superstar, very famous masked man from the NWA in the 1980s. Masked Superstar has a double finisher. He has a swinging neck breaker, 0 finisher, and a Cobra hold +1. So very solid stuff. Bill Eadie, yes, Rob, that's correct, Bill Eadie. And here we have Johnny Valentine, father of Greg the Hammer Valentine, and a very, very accomplished champion grappler in the 60s and 70s in his own right. He was known for the Atomic Skull Crusher, and in Johnny's case, he hits the Atomic Skull Crusher on a roll of 5 or 6 when he is on level 3 offense. Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man, the man from New York City. He was wild and crazy. He's got the Boogie Woogie elbow drop. That's his finisher. That's a +1 finisher. Valiant may not be as accomplished as Johnny Valentine or Ivan Koloff or some of his peers. He was not a world heavyweight champion at any point that I can recall, but very, very entertaining guy throughout the Tennessee and the South. And here we have young Sam Houston, the younger brother of Jake the Snake Roberts and the son of Grizzly Smith. Again, not the world's most accomplished grappler, but a popular figure down south in Texas in the 70s and 80s. Known for the Bulldog Headlock as his finisher. And finally, Brad Armstrong, great member of the Armstrong family. That is expansion pack number 2. Now, before we go on to the next expansion pack, let me mention that coming in the spring or early summer, I'm actually going to try to set up my tabletop in such a way that I will be able to broadcast matches live from my tabletop. As you can tell, I don't have the space or the equipment for that quite yet, but I will be streaming some Legends of Wrestling matches live in the near future. Now we go to expansion pack number 3, more color cards. First up we have Nick Bockwinkel, fantastic wrestler. Bockwinkel was one of the black and white cards. He has a long and storied history in my tabletop wrestling federations. The only man to score 2 victories over Andre the Giant in the history of Heartland Championship Wrestling with that sleeper hold. Bockwinkel had Andre's number, and he put Andre out twice with the sleeper hold. And as you can see, the Bockwinkel sleeper is a +2 finisher. He's also got the figure 4 leg lock, which is the +1 finisher, so double finisher for Bockwinkel. Tough competitor. From the West Coast, we have Rey the Crippler Stephens. Very, very good wrestler from San Francisco. Also did well in the AWA, the crippling pile driver, and the bombs away. Very accomplished tag team grappler. Bockwinkel and Stephens were a very successful tag team. Stephens tagged also on the West Coast with Don Morocco successfully for a number of years. So good stuff here. A brand new card to Filsinger that I am extremely excited about. One of my favorites, Stan the Man Hanson. Stan the Lariat Hanson. I have been so excited since they announced that this card was coming, and I am jazzed to add Stan Hanson to my federation. +3 finisher on the Lariat, the Brazos Valley Backbreaker, the Power Bomb, the Borger Body Slam. This guy was powerful and dangerous as they come. Formidable tag team with Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody has one of the original black and white Legends cards, and I believe he's in one of the color updates. So I am looking forward to getting Hanson and Brody together to battle all sorts of tag team opponents throughout the Legends of Wrestling. Larry Zbyszko, the living legend. Another very popular card from the early days of Filsinger Wrestling. Nobody played mind games like Larry Zbyszko. The +2 pile driver is his finishing hold. Zbyszko has a very interesting mechanic that he has the ability to pull the turnbuckle pad off of the turnbuckle with the right combination of rolls. Zbyszko will pull the turnbuckle pad off of the buckle, and from that point forward in the match, there will be the opportunity to do a lot more damage either to the opponent or to himself the next time somebody hits the turnbuckle. Sports Time Machine has a question. Go ahead, Mike, put your question out there. I'm so excited about the cards, I'm really not paying attention to the chat, but I will try and respond to your questions. So go ahead and put your question out there, and I will introduce the next 2 cards together, as we move Biscoe aside and we bring out Larry, Mad Dog, and the Butcher, Maurice and Paul Michonne, the Michonne Brothers, who come together as a package deal in this set. The question from Mike is, how hard is it to make your own cards? It's a little time consuming, but it's not difficult. The game actually comes with instructions how to make your own cards. There are some rules about the defensive strength of the wrestlers and the ratings that you can use. It's hard to make really, really good cards. I've seen a lot of cards that were way too powerful or way unrealistic compared to their peers. So it takes a lot of thought and a lot of study, but it can be done, and the game comes with instructions how to do that. And I use Excel templates when I want to make my own cards that can put these cards together. And if you study and do the wrestler and do a good job with it, then you can make some nice cards. What I love about this game, though, is the artwork. The artwork on these cards is done by a guy by the name of Werner Muke, who lives out on the West Coast, I believe, in Washington State. Very, very talented artist. Also a gamer and a member of the community, and we all know and love Werner from the bottom of our hearts. And one of the things I like about Legends of Wrestling is that these cards are authentic. These are the real guys, the real holds, the real moves, and the real genuine cards. Everybody who is represented in this game has signed a waiver that gives the company permission to use their likenesses, except for the historical guys, and Tom Filsinger, the creator, goes through a very thorough process of making sure that he has all the copyright things that he needs to produce any of these wrestlers. There's a very committed crew of guys who runs around to conventions and tries to convince wrestlers to sign. Not everybody has signed. If you are under contract to World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment, or TNA, you don't have your own signing privileges. So we can't sign anybody that is part of the WWF. So there's no John Cena card. There's no Dolph Ziggler card. Anybody who's under active contract cannot be signed. A number of guys signed as independents before they joined the WWE. So there is an AJ Styles card. There is the guy who's now Cesaro, formerly Claudio Castagnoli, has a card. A lot of the guys who came from the Indies into WWE later in their careers do have cards in the game. The next tag team we have is a team from the 60s and 70s known as the Flying Redheads, Red Bastien and Billy Red Lyons. Chris has a question about pricing. If you go to the website, which is linked in the description of the chat, you can see how the pricing works. There is a starter set game that comes with 16 cards plus the rule book, plus the a set of dice and the game charts and everything you might need to get started with the game. And I believe that the starter set runs for about $30 to $32 or so. The updates that don't have all of the that don't have all the rules and charts and things with them, just have the cards. A set of these update cards goes for $20 to $24 for a 12-pack. So you do get, it's a little bit pricey, but you get good value. As you can see, a lot of energy goes into signing the wrestlers, and a lot of energy goes into producing the artwork, and it's very high quality stuff. Robbie Wartburg, is there a computer version? There is an online version. If you go to the Filsinger Games website and then navigate over to the online version of the game, you can play the game online without cards and dice and charts and that sort of thing. But there is not a downloadable, installable PC or tablet version. I keep pestering Tom about that, and it's not something that they are planning to release anytime soon, because they're not a computer company per se, and it's just, one guy, Tom Filsinger, who's a full-time professor of psychology and a passionate wrestling fan and a Stratomatic player. Also, he calls this Stratomatic wrestling if you ask him about it. And Tom, just with his own creativity, started the Champions of the Galaxy comic book style wrestling game and branched into Legends of Wrestling, and both those games have been active now for 30 years. Last couple of cards in the set, the Crusher, the man who made Milwaukee famous. This was a beer guzzling brawler from the 70s, from Milwaukee, very popular guy, known for the Full Nelson and the Crusher Bolo. His tag team partner, Dick the Bruiser, has not signed a contract with Filsinger yet, but we would love to get him as the tag team partner. And a new release from the AWA days, Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal. Not to be confused with Lord Steven Regal, the British guy who's in the WWE these days. Next up, we have a manager card. This is a manager card for Bobby the Brain Heenan. So you can bring a manager to ringside, and you can put his card right alongside the wrestler card. And under the circumstances, you roll on Bobby Heenan's card. For example, if you roll 2 dice, and the Bobby Heenan family storms down to ringside. They jump in the ring, causing chaos. Roll disqualification 7, meaning if you roll a 7 or lower on 2 dice, then his guy can get disqualified. If there is no disqualification, Heenan's wrestler takes over on level 3 offense, so he can take control of the match for his wrestlers. Okay, a couple of other sets I'll show very quickly. These are some of the independent folks that are currently active. There's a new set of Ring of Honor cards, a couple of lady wrestlers in the set, a new wrestler on the scene by the name of Karen Q from Chinatown, who is making her way in Ring of Honor. There is a pretty complete set. There's about 4 or 5 sets of Shimmer cards that have been released for fans of lady wrestling. So if you're a fan of the current day superstars like Tessa Blanchard, the daughter of Tully Blanchard, Saraya Knight, who is the mother of Paige, who is a champion wrestler in her own right, Mercedes Martinez, Cheerleader Melissa, some of the big names on the ladies' independent scene are represented. And here is another one, Sumi Sakai, who has been around a long, long time, but has recently made a resurgence of her career in Ring of Honor. A couple of other Ring of Honor guys, Shane Taylor, who is a great big newcomer on the scene. Josh the Goods Woods, who was an MMA-trained fighter who came into Ring of Honor as a wrestler and won their recent Top Prospect tournament. And then a few other newer independent guys who are making their way onto the scene. Probably the most recognizable name in this set is this guy by the name of Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle got his start on the independent wrestling scene after transitioning from mixed martial arts. He has since signed a contract with the WWE, and he now appears on NXT on a regular basis. So this was a good get. Matt Riddle's going to be a star in the WWE, And once that happens, he won't be able to be signed by the Filsinger Games company. So the fact that we got Matt Riddle on a contract early enough in his career is going to be a nice card to have for years to come. So this is my new toy. Got some new wrestling cards to bring into my federation, and as I mentioned, later this summer, I will be doing some live matches from my tabletop with my federation. Tomorrow night, I will be on with NBA basketball, 8 p.m. Central Time, as the undefeated Milwaukee Bucks travel to Baltimore to face Wes Unseld and the Baltimore Bullets in an effort to keep their unbeaten streak alive. Beginning next Saturday, the 23rd of March, I'm also going to be doing a few Stratomatic baseball games live on the computer from the 1991 Cincinnati Reds season that I am replaying with a group of friends in the Historical Baseball Project. The Historical Baseball Project has been replaying seasons together for a number of years. There are a few teams open in this season if anybody is interested in a 12-week 1991 replay project. Hit me up here or on Facebook or on Discord, and I will give you the details if you want to join with a great group of guys for a 12-week project to replay the 1991 season, compile the stats, and put them into the database of stats that we have that goes all the way back to 1901. Chris, if you want to, check my Sports Simulations and Replays Facebook group or the Discord page, and I have posted details if you are interested in one of those available teams. This is a PC replay. Mike can answer to your question. All right, well, that's all I've got tonight. I was just really excited to get that big white envelope and wanted to show off my new toys. So I am going to sign off and let you all get to your gaming activities for the evening. Thanks everybody who came in and checked us out. And hit me up anytime if you have more questions about Filsinger Legends of Wrestling, and always glad to talk more. All right, thanks everybody, and y'all have a good night.